What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of MENtality Unchained. I'm getting ready to end the season, and I wanted to bring in a special guest to end season 2, because at the end of the day, without this young man, without this brother, there will be no MENtality Unchained. In every aspect of the word, there would not be a MENtality Unchained. I have to preface that, and I know he's not want to take credit for it, but I have to give him credit for it. But I just ask that you guys help me welcome my man, Jaleel Wavy West, back up in the place. What's up, man?
What's good? How you feeling?
I'm good. Good to have you back from the South, North Carolina. He's down there now doing his own thing. You good down there?
It's getting better. It's getting better. It's getting better.
Okay, we're gonna get into that, but before we start, I just want to let everybody know, go to YouTube, Spotify, Apple, everywhere you get your podcasts, and also I'm on Facebook as well. MENtality Unchained. Hit me up. I am on TikTok, so I know I'm just starting out that TikTok thing, so y'all support me anyway. But I wanted to do this last episode of season 2 because it's very special, because to get to 2 years in podcasting, it's a big deal. I mean, because I don't care if you got 2 followers. It's a big deal when you get to 2 years saying that you've been consistent with doing something and you're doing it at a level that you think you're capable of doing it. I think I can do more, but I will do more in the future. But to get to 2 years, to circle back to day one, to the conversation, to the conversation you and I had when it came to podcasting. But before we get into that, just tell the people about who you are, what you're doing, how you're moving these days, and what North Carolina looking like right now.
What is there to say about me? I don't know. What is there to say about me?
There's a lot to say about you, man. Come on now. You can't just not tell the people who you are and what you're doing right now.
Oh, man. Jaleel Wavy. That's what I call myself. Why are we doing this right now? All right. Okay. All right. So I work in the television industry, broadcasting, trying to break into radio. Got my own podcast, Unconventional AF with Jaleel Wavy, talking to whoever about whatever, because I don't know what it is. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
So I bring on anybody that's interesting.
Gotcha. Yeah, I always like to call them ordinary but extraordinary people. We just ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I think that's what you are and you do. So let's get into this, man. Like, why did you feel the need to, like, when it came to podcasting, and when I came to you about podcasting, what was it about that concept that drew you in or made you want to be a part of that?
It was about mental health.
Okay.
And at the height, I feel like mental health is, at that time, it was still fresh. Mm-hmm. It was still like a new concept to Black people. So when you said that you wanted to talk to Black people about mental health, I was like, of course, bet. Like, let's do it.
Yeah.
I didn't even need no convincing on that.
Right. Okay. That was cool. I know one of the things that you and I always joke about is our Miami trip. Mm-hmm. and I know right now where you are versus where you were when it came to mental health. Is that Miami trip still the same? Got the same kind of?
It was a good time.
Yeah.
I don't regret that trip at all.
You don't regret it? So for the audience that don't know, Mr. Jaleel, he decided to go to Miami rather than counseling or therapy.
I did.
So he chose to party and still come back and deal with the same problem. Like, where you at now as far as your mental health? I mean, what's that looking like?
It's a lot better.
Yeah?
A lot better. I'm happier.
You happy?
For sure.
Are you doing therapy now?
Yes.
Okay.
I go like once a month.
Once a month? Okay, because you kind of tapered off. You start out like once a week or 2 weeks or something like that?
No, just one. Yeah, I think when I started, I was doing like every other week.
Okay. Yeah.
And then once I moved, I'm like, all right, I need to slow down.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was like once a month.
It help you keep your mind focused and stuff like that, especially moving to a whole new city. And
yeah,
I mean, what made you make that jump too? Like, come on, that's a big jump, dealing with mental health and all these other things in Rockford, and then you just
just moved.
Yeah.
I was just ready for something new.
Okay.
I feel like I gave Rockford everything I could. There was nothing left. So I'm like, all right, let me see if I can go to another city and let me see what I can do there.
That's huge though. Like you said, you think you gave Rockford, all you had. Like, do you have any like resentment? Like I gave it to them and it was just not enough for them, or it was too much for you. How do you feel about that?
No, not at all. I came back. I was living with my aunt in Aurora, and then I came back here, and like shortly after, I got a radio job.
Okay.
Did that for 2 years. Went back to school. Started the podcast.
Yeah.
And then after school, I worked in news. There's no like, oh, I'm not mad about anything. Like I did all I could.
Okay.
I did all I could. There was nothing else for me. I did radio, television, podcast, school. What else was there for me to do?
So moving to North Carolina, did that give you like a different outlook? Did it help? Did it make you feel a certain type of way? What's up with that?
No, it didn't make me feel any different. I was just ready for a new experience. Yeah. I feel like my outlook changed back in like 2013 when I went to go live with my aunt.
Okay.
And I went from like living in the hood to living in the suburbs. So that was my change where like a light switch kind of came on.
So almost like that thing that I always tell people, like you have to explore to see what's outside of your hood, because if you don't, all you know is your neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
So you got a chance to get out.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you move into North Carolina. Was it any apprehension or any fear or anything moving away from here?
I don't remember being scared or nervous. I probably was, but I don't really remember.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I know I underestimated what it was going to be.
You underestimated?
Oh,
so
yeah.
when you say underestimated, that means you had either a rocky ride or a good ride. Which one is it?
Rocky. It was bumpy as hell.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What, just not knowing the landscape, or what was it?
I don't think I wasn't mentally prepared for what it was going to be. And then going out there by myself, not knowing anybody. Yeah.
Wow.
It was rough.
So you saying it's important to be mentally prepared when you make a move like that?
Yeah, because I will say, I'm not going to say I was running from my Rockford problems, but I did think that my problems was like going to go away after I left. Like, once I moved, like I'm good. And then once the newness wore off, them problems like seep back up.
So then those problems are strapped to you, not everybody else then, right?
Yeah.
So were you able to kind of, was counseling able to help you get through a lot of those things? Let's talk a little bit about that, right? Let's get into it. Like, what kind of stuff if you feel comfortable talking about it, like what kind of stuff really that you thought you were running from?
I don't know if I was running from anything in particular, but I thought like my depression and anxiety, I thought that was just tied to Rockford.
Oh, okay. Like the city
like
itself.
Just being here, like, I need something new. And then when I moved, I was still having those same issues. I think a lot of my issues tied back to just like career stuff and my insecurities. And so I didn't think it was Rockford necessarily, but I thought a lot of my issues was tied to just kind of maybe just being here. Yeah. Not blaming Rock for anything, but I just thought like once I moved, like my depression, my anxiety, like those issues would go away. Because now I'm like, all right, I'm gone.
That's huge right now for you to be talking about you said my depression, my anxiety. That's huge for you to be saying that, right? Because most people don't do that. Most men don't do that for sure. But like you had your career was like from the outside, like from me, it felt like your career was going in the right trajectory, but you don't feel that way because you saying your depression and your anxiety. And so what was it about your career that wasn't happening?
I mean, you and everybody else would say the same thing.
Yeah.
That, you're doing good. You're doing well. Like, what is there to complain or be upset about? But it's still not necessarily what I want to do. It's just like, this is what I'm doing in the meantime.
Gotcha. So you have this idea of where you should be or what you should be doing.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And if you're not there, it just makes you feel some type of way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if that was happening in your work life, what about personal life? Like, what was going on there?
When you say personal, what do you mean?
Well, however you want to take it. I'm not going to tell you how to answer that. It's however you want to take it.
Well, I don't know how to answer it because I don't know what direction you want me to go. So,
well, I tell you what, whatever's comfortable for you. Because again, I don't want you to talk about stuff you're not comfortable talking about. But at the same time, I just want the people to know, like you said, my depression and anxiety was tied to a city. And that's what at least that's what you thought. And then from the work perspective, you just didn't reach the goals that you thought you should. But as far as personal goals, like what was not happening that had you in those type of state of mind?
Personal, I guess, you know what? The pandemic had a lot to do with the personal stuff.
Gotcha.
So I would say before, I don't think I had too many personal issues, and then like the pandemic, I was just lonely.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
You know what? I've been hearing that too a lot. Like the pandemic really made us sit with ourselves. Like, so do you feel like you had that time to just slow down and be like, wow, I'm by myself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hey, at the end of the day, I think we all had to go through it, man. I mean, even like for me, being in the pandemic, being home all the time, I'm like, my wife and I was like, man, we're not used to this because I'm not used to being home all the time. So I think, there's different aspects of getting used to having everything shut down on you. And that's something that no one has ever experienced. Like, how do you deal with that? You know?
I literally, because I would say up until the pandemic, I was working, doing a podcast, or in school, had more than one job. So it was like I was like you said, always busy.
Right.
And then the pandemic, I was like, I don't have one job. Wow. I couldn't do the podcast like I want to. So I feel like I wasn't getting that validation like I was getting when I was doing a podcast consistently. Yeah. So when the pandemic came, it seemed like everything just kind of dried up.
Gotcha. Well, now you got a new podcast. You're getting back on the podcast. And what made you step back out in the podcasting?
I was bored.
Bored?
Yeah. I need something to do. I'm like tired of sitting around not talking.
But then you also talked to, because I actually was on your first podcast and you were talking about like you feel like you got something to say. And like, what is that?
I just want to showcase like who I am. And then me trying to be in the media industry, wanted to be either on the radio or talent. I can't sit around and not do anything and just wait for somebody to give me a chance. So I was like, all right, I need to get this podcast going.
Okay.
I need to talk to the people, talk to somebody.
Right. So that kind of triggered that thought, like, okay, it's time to get back out there. Like, how did you start to gravitate to media? I mean, I know from a young age you say that's what you love to do, but like to say, okay, I want to do it, like this is what I really want to do. Where did that come from?
Probably just watching too much TV. Watching too much TV.
Watching too much. What about watching too much TV trigger that?
Cause TV, I'm not gonna lie, like growing up, it was just me and my mom. So I wasn't like running the streets and stuff. Not because I couldn't, because I had the opportunity, I just didn't want to. Gotcha. So I was like, watch TV. I just sit at home, watch TV. Wow. So 106 in Park and YouTube and interviews and so I would just watch TV. Yeah. Like it's like I always just wanted to be on TV. I was always watching TV.
Okay. Did you ever get like fascinated with the technical part of it, like the filming, the editing and all that, or you just kind of wanted to be on TV?
Well, yeah, I just wanted to be on TV. I didn't know much about the behind the scenes stuff until I went to RVC. So now I understand that part, but at that time I didn't know. I just wanted to be the talent.
What do you think right now is like your main thing that's pushing your growth process? Like, what's the one thing that's like making you go hard?
You talking about like life or
just life in general? Yeah.
Same thing. Just wanting to be happy.
Just want to be happy.
I wasn't happy for a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
So you find that happiness in just pushing yourself to be better?
No, because that's still called anxiety. But no, I just like therapy and everything is just like I just wanted to be happy, wanted to be better. I didn't want to be stressed out all the time because it was literally like ruining me.
Mm-hmm. Other than like the physical, people can see the physical part of you not being happy. Like, what?
I don't think people could see it though.
Really, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I don't think people could see it because anytime I would tell somebody I was depressed, they would be shocked. Oh, you have suicidal thoughts? They would be like, no way.
Wow. Because they just thought that you didn't, because the way you appeared happy or you appeared to be just being Jaleel, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's who Jaleel is, but they didn't know what Jaleel was dealing with on the inside.
Yeah.
But what stopped you from not telling them? Like, I mean, I know it's not their business, but like, it's not their business to know. But like, what's up with the honesty? Like, why can't you say like, hey, look, that's just who I am. I'm not happy right now.
I'm not telling nobody that.
Not even your closest friend?
Nah. I mean, there's probably some people that know that I could think of off the top of my head, but I wasn't. Yeah, I'm not telling anybody that.
Well, you know, thousands of people going to be hearing this and seeing this. So what's different now?
I don't know. I just don't care, I guess.
You just don't care?
I mean, I feel like now, like being transparent about everything, I'm not. I guess I'm not afraid to just talk about it now. Like before, like I don't want to tell anybody that, and I don't want to tell anybody, you know, like I'm happy when I'm with y'all, but then as soon as I get in the car, it's like a switch go off, and I was like, I'm right back to not being in a good mood. I'm not telling anybody that. That's crazy.
Wow. Do we ever put that pressure on ourselves to just be a certain way, and if we can't be that way, then that's where the unhappiness comes in at?
I don't know. You got the answers to that. I don't have.
I mean, I got the answer to it, but I just want to hear from you. I mean, I want them to hear your answer.
Not for me. I don't think.
Okay. So, how much of your past or your past emotional state, how much of that play a part of what you do now, though?
Probably everything.
Everything. Probably shaped who you are too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unintentionally.
Yeah. Okay. Did when you first started to feel the anxiety and depression and stuff like that, did that like make you think that something was wrong with you, like you were a bad person, or you just didn't like the feeling? What did that do for you?
I don't know. I feel like it's so crazy to think, because I feel like I was a bad person for a while. Wow. I don't know why. I just always just like, oh, I'm not that good of a person.
Gotcha.
It's weird to think that, because I've never, done anything to anybody to come off like that, or to think that. That's just kind of thought that I would have.
And it's strange. It's funny that you say that, because if anybody meets you, they know it's just like you kind of light up the room. You real playful. You're really charismatic, and you just have so much energy. But they wouldn't see or feel that side of you, of the depression or the anxiety piece, because I mean, I know you don't show it for sure, but I mean, that's just who you are. Like it almost feels like you're having fun, so you don't have to think about who you are.
Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
Let's just talk about it.
I feel like, but I think just as a human being, we're just layered. So, yeah, I'm not always happy, right? Or maybe one side of me is hiding certain things, but me being fun and making people laugh, like that's also me. Like that's how I've always been that way.
In that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just different layers.
Gotcha.
I show what I want to show.
So, and that's cool. That's cool. I don't say that I wouldn't say that you would have to share everything about yourself and put yourself out there. But at the end of the day, the fact that again that we're talking about this is so huge, and I'm not gonna sit up here and we're gonna tell your entire story. But at the end of the day, for I don't know if you understand how many people that you're helping just by talking about your anxiety and your depression. And for the people that know you, it seems like you're pretty successful. But they don't, at the same time, they don't know the stuff that you have to deal with to make sure you uphold that. And so this is huge. I appreciate you. I thank you for doing that. With that being said, though, like where you are now, do you feel that you're on the right path to where you want to be? Because I know you still want to be in radio, but are you still on that path personally and career wise?
Yeah, I feel like I'm on the right path.
Okay. Did that move put you in the right frame of mind and then put you in the right places to grow in your media?
I don't think the move did.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm starting to like it now. I don't want to say the move did. I think like what really, you said what put me in the right place,
Mm-hmm.
or like what
Right frame of mind, right place, yeah.
Therapy.
There.
Yeah, that's I have to give it to that.
Okay.
It really has helped me a lot.
Well,
like I wish I would have started like a lot sooner.
Yeah. Most people say that once they really start to figure it out, things start to click for them.
I was so against it for so long. Like,
why? Why were you against that?
Because I didn't want to tell nobody my business. I don't like talking. I don't like sharing. I don't like talking to people about certain things. Even now, it was hard to like. I feel like I just hit like a breakthrough like 2 months ago.
So for that person that's sitting there contemplating going to therapy and knowing they should go talk to someone, but they feel like you were like, what was that one thing to say? Okay, you got to go. What was that one thing that said you got to go?
A woman.
A woman. So you didn't want to admit that, huh?
Yes, it was a situation that happened, and I was like, "Wait, can I curse on you?"
You say whatever you want to say.
I ain't gonna say. I'm like, man, I'm like really messed up out here.
Yeah.
Like I gotta go get this figured out.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it wasn't like a woman, but it was a situation.
Situation with a woman.
Yeah, that made me like, okay, I think I need to go get fixed.
Wow.
Or help. Say help.
I get you. And you know what? And I tell people all the time, it's not about getting fixed. And I think that's the biggest misconception about therapy is that when I go to therapy, I'm going to get fixed or somebody going to tell me that I'm messed up or I'm jacked up. It ain't even about that, man. And so I can appreciate it as one black man to another for you to also say that, you know, I was against it. You know, that's what most men, they are against it. I think now we're in a different climate that, you know, men are really trying to get help. I think we struggle the most because we got so much trauma that we don't want to deal with, that we don't want to address. It's just be like, and it's piling up and it affects everybody that we're around. And that's one of the things that I've always tried to keep my trauma in front of me. So I know what it is. I know how to deal with it, and I know how to keep it from affecting everyone else. And that's just years of just dealing with it and knowing and talking through it, you know, just trying to figure it out. And so I think when we as men get to the point where we're trying to figure ourselves out, we'll be better men.
I think that's where I have to say unintentionally, because I knew I needed help, but I didn't know I was like messing up with people or relationships due to the stuff that I've been through. Like I didn't realize that.
Wow.
I didn't realize that. That's why I say it was unintentional. Because I wasn't doing it on purpose. Right. I don't think they know that they're doing it.
I was gonna say, isn't that how it starts though? It's like you just doing it out of I'm just doing it. That's just who I am.
Some people don't care though.
Right. Yeah. I mean, those people that don't care, they know they deal with it, but they just like whatever. They don't care for people to that point where they're thinking about their emotional state. So, but yeah, I think most of the time we just get into relationships, we interact with people in the community, and it's just like, okay, no big deal until it starts to, you know, affect them in a negative way. And I think that's one of the things that we have to be conscious of, is that we're not hurting people intentionally and in a negative way. So, but no, again, man, I really love your transparency, because you don't have to say this, you don't have to talk about this, but at the same time, the people that you help by saying the stuff that you're saying, and because you're still young too. So, I mean, you know, for you to be saying that, it's almost like I'm putting myself out there is a bad thing. But at the same time,
I like good content.
You like good? Okay. I love it too. So where are you at far as relationships now? Do you go into relationships differently now, or do you take your time? What do you do? What's your process now?
I don't know. I'm scared. I'm scared. It's rough out here.
Yeah. What are you scared of? What is it to be scared of?
It's all a game.
Mm. Mm. What do you when you say it's a game? What do you mean, man?
I just feel like we dating now. It seems like everybody's just on. People say they all want the same thing, but it seems like we all on different pages.
Okay.
So I'm focused on myself.
You focus?
I'm focused on myself right now.
You focus on yourself.
Yeah.
Hey, look, the first thing I tell people in relationships is, you want to get to know yourself first. Once you get to know yourself, then you know what you want.
Yeah.
And then too, if you've been through many different relationships, you know what you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put those things together, then you're not going to make the perfect relationship or have the perfect relationship, but you will have one that is the thing that I like to talk about with my wife is a healthy marriage or a healthy relationship. And you, more than anything, you want a healthy relationship. Healthy relationship says that I have an opinion, you have an opinion. Okay, that's fine. It's okay. I respect you. You respect me. Now let's move forward. Rather than falling out because I don't agree with you or controlling you or trying to control you. So those are the things that I look for when I talk to couples is like, what's healthy for you? What's not going to be harmful for the other person? So if you think about that, I think that's going to put you in the realm of having a relationship with someone that you truly care about rather than just going through the motions like, okay, I'm dating just to be dating.
I feel like I got some more growing to do, even though, like, I know, like, you're never going to be perfect. Mm-hmm. But I feel like I'm still in the process of, I guess, trying to like myself. So I'm like, all right, let me chill out and wait.
Okay.
Yeah, let me chill out. And I'm just trying to focus on myself. And now I got the podcast. That's taking up a lot of time. Mm-hmm. I got 2 jobs, so I'm trying to get my money up.
Yeah, yeah. When you talk about like yourself, most people will say, what is it not to like about yourself? Like there are things that we don't like about ourselves. And I'm not even talking about like physical stuff. I'm just like as a human being, some stuff that you don't like about yourself. Like what made you come to that conclusion? Like, I gotta like myself. I gotta get to a point where, I'm loving myself.
It was just like accepting things, like certain things that happened to me. And those things that I'm not sharing.
Gotcha.
So it's like I'm getting to a place of acceptance now. And for a long time, I was not there.
Gotcha.
And like being ashamed of certain things. And then like when I'm dating, certain things will happen. And then I'm not sharing like, okay, I'm reacting to things because of stuff that has happened in my past.
Yeah.
But they don't know that because I'm not sharing that.
Yeah.
Because I'm keeping all of that stuff to myself.
Right.
So if I can't accept certain things for myself, if I can't accept myself, how is anybody else going to accept me?
Yeah, I agree with that. Many years ago, I didn't kind of share a lot of the stuff that I had went through or the upbringing that I had. And what I found is that, people are going to be judgmental. People always have an opinion about an opinion. You can't be who you are because people, they want to judge you or they want to put you in this box or they want to label you. But what I understood was it doesn't matter what you do. People are always going to say something. So I started living in my truth. And for a long time, I used to be embarrassed to tell people that I grew up in a housing project or that I grew up in the South where there were, a lot of racism or whatever. And so I said, you know what? I'm not going to hide behind my truth anymore. I'm just going to be me. You take it or you leave it. And even in my counseling, I do the same thing. And I tell my clients, when I meet you on the first day, this is what you see what you get. This is what I might be in my hoodie. I might be in some Timbs or jeans or whatever. I'm not the typical therapist. And I do that on purpose because why would I be the typical? Why would I go to school to be just like everyone else? And so I think when we figure out that we are unique, we are who we are, I think that's when we start to come into our own. And I know that you are definitely unique in what you do and how you approach life. So you just got to come into that where you feel like, okay, this is me, and they accept it or they don't.
I think it's different though when you're trying to date and you're trying to make a good impression.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think no. You put your best foot forward the first.
I'm not showing you anything.
Nah,
I'm not giving you anything.
Yeah, you gotta tread lightly when you start that thing, man, because you don't know. Because there's some women and men out there that will just take your heart and just stomp on it, throw it away, spit on it, do all that because they just those type of people. But at the end of the day, you definitely take it slow in relationships, like building those relationships.
But I feel like I was like running, like scaring, or like I wanted to be accepted, right? So I'm not like sharing certain things, not knowing that me not sharing those things is also like running them off too, though.
That's true.
And that's a lot of that was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Where you date and the people that you date, you know, you got to start looking for the clues, you know, red flags and things of that nature. Because at the end of the day, even if you don't share, and that may be running them off, if they are a good person, you should be able to share. And so you're gonna have to, you know, when you get into those relationships, just kind of, you know, check it out and see what it's about. You know, if the relationship is not what it is, then I don't have to share. But if it's going in a direction where you feel like it's cool, then you start sharing a little bit more. But you don't ever just like put all your cards on the table.
Well, one of them ran off. I shared and they left. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that again.
Well, I was telling I think I was telling Alex, and I don't know if you looked at last podcast with my wife and I. My wife says, I'm grown. I had to learn to be grown because women and men, when you're actually grown, some things you understand, some things you run away from. But for the most part, you understand that sometimes people go through things that are not on them, and you got to accept them for that. And so when we find people that want to run and can't accept that, even if they say, hey, you know what, I understand what you went through, we can just be friends, or I don't understand, I would like to know more, rather than just taking off and run. Because, man, let me tell you something. Everybody done been through something. And it may be enough to run anybody away. But at the end of the day, as an adult, I understand that. And if I don't understand that, but you got to be in the right frame of mind to understand stuff like that. So not to say that young lady is not grown, but maybe she wasn't able to handle that at that time.
Yeah, they have to, if you tell somebody something, if you give your deepest, darkest secrets to someone and they run off, that means they not for you.
That's true. That's
not your person.
Well, that's part of you growing too, though, because before you didn't think that, did you?
No, no,
right,
not at all, not at all.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not gonna share that because I want them to stick around.
Right.
They weren't sticking around anyway, but I want them to stick around.
So, in other words, you wanted it more than they wanted it. You wanted them to stick around. Yeah. Well.
No comment.
Okay. So, what's life like in North Carolina now? I mean, like, what's like your daily routine? Like, what are you getting into? You say you're working 2 jobs now. Do you have time to work on your media stuff? I mean, what are you doing?
Yeah, unconventional AF.
Mm-hmm.
That's my new baby.
Okay. Are you putting the time in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. Have to. If you want it to be anything, you got to put the time in. You know about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But MENtality Unchained, as big as it is now. You got cameras, you got a producer, you got lights in here.
Hey, look, man, this is a pandemic hustle right here. During the pandemic, we just started piecing stuff, buying stuff, and doing what we need because we started taking it serious. Because again, when I first started, this is really wasn't something that I wanted to do. I just wanted to get out a message. And now it's really a part of who I am. And I will say, like, the rewards of it is just being able to, like, connect with Black people. Like, the people that I've had on the show, to really connect with them, the people through the comments and through the relationship that I've built through the podcast, is like, I wouldn't trade it, man. And I'm like you now, though. I wish I would have did it sooner, And so these are the things that you don't recognize, especially when you just, like you said, trying to put out good content. You're not just getting on there, just talking and just doing. You're actually trying to put out good content. So I'm thanking you publicly. Thank you for pushing me. Thank you for saying, hey, you got to be the face. You got to put yourself out there because, as you know, that wasn't what I wanted to do. Because to be honest with you, I wanted to push you out there, and you was like, "No, this is your vision."
Yeah,
So,
I'm a train wreck. How can I be the face of a mental health podcast? My mental health is in shambles.
but that's the beauty of it, though. You said just that too. Is like, how can I? And I think what that phrase you used when we talked on your podcast about you were driving.
Oh, I said you wanted me to drive the car when I shouldn't have been in the vehicle or something.
Yeah.
Only because, like I told you, I was not in the right mind frame to help.
Right. But you pushed through it though, because we recorded and we did this and we did that, and you never said anything about that until like recent. We talked about that.
Hold on. Yeah, hold on. I know my voice sounds crazy right now, but yeah, I wanted to help, but I was like not in a good place.
Gotcha.
To help. I did the best I could, but yeah, it was times I didn't feel like doing anything. He was like, "Let's record." I'm like, "Oh shit, I don't feel like it," but I'm like, "All right, cool." I committed to it, so I'm like, "I'm just gonna do it."
So was that part of your work too, like really getting yourself to the point where it's like, okay, I know I'm bringing value to something? Because when you say that I didn't feel like doing it because I wasn't in a good place, you didn't feel that you had value for it, or what?
I just didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
Like I just was like I said, I was not in a good place. I didn't want to do anything. The whole pandemic was just bad.
Yeah.
So, like, yes, I was excited about helping and doing it, but yeah, I had a lot of days where I just didn't feel like it.
Yeah. The pandemic did a lot to a lot of people, though, to be honest with you. I mean, the pandemic was the pandemic. I mean, it seemed like everything was like stripped from us. We couldn't do anything. And so I can see people that are used to doing things now having to sit and just sit with themselves. And that's one thing as people we don't do, especially men. We don't sit with ourselves. Like the first thought of anxiety, the first thought of not being able to control something, the first thought of your trauma coming back up, we go bury ourselves. And I used to do that a lot too. It's like when I felt like a certain way, I would get busy. I'd be like, look, I ain't got time to think about it. I just get busy, and try to distract myself from what I was really thinking or feeling. And I noticed, I was like, no, you can't do that, dude. You got to, look, just sit in it, deal with it, whatever it is, and then be better from it. But it didn't come from just doing it overnight. It come from years of really just like, should I do it? Should I not do it? Going back and forth with yourself. And you like your biggest adversary, like, you always fighting yourself to be better. But then when it's come time to like deal with your problems, your issues, your challenges, you won't deal with them. And then you can't get better. And you're putting out like a subpar product because you presenting yourself to the world and you're not where you need to be. And so I think that once we start to, as men, do that, we start to heal. So, and I think too, and that sounds like kind of what you're starting to do and have started to do is like heal from the inside out.
Oh yeah. I'm not all the way healed, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there for sure.
Hey, and here's the thing: nobody said you had to be perfect. You heal how you heal.
I thought I had to be though.
Did you?
Yeah.
Why?
I really, sometimes I would like look at myself and like, what do I have to offer? So I'm like, all right, I need to be great at all of these different things.
Gotcha.
If I'm not, then it's like, why am I here?
Right. So your podcast now, you said you felt the need to get back out there, and you have become a fan of good content. Like, what kind of content do you want to present to the world or to people?
Like real conversations.
Real conversation.
Like I was watching your stuff and I was like, man, like this guy's good. Like this is like, man, I'm trying to take from you.
What?
It has like, yeah, you have some real good conversations, asking real questions, pulling stuff out of people. I want people to come on my podcast and cry.
I tell you this though, man, I love it. I love to hear like real stories because it's everything now is like entertainment based, and I don't subscribe to that too much. one thing that I will say, and I don't usually say it out loud, but one thing that like a lot of the podcasts now, they have a lot of celebrities on there and they talk about certain things, and you got this mindset of, is it entertainment or is it true or whatever? And I know I try to talk to just ordinary people. And I call them ordinary but extraordinary. Like ordinary people with extraordinary stories. They really have a story to tell. And no one's tapping into that. As everybody wants to get the next superstar on there. Would I love to have a superstar or a famous person on? Absolutely. But for me, that doesn't fulfill me. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like you have to do a podcast and that's going to fulfill you, you know. And so I think that what you're doing now, even the title Unconventional AFL, is like everything is so conventional now. You know, why can't we be different? Why can't you be unique? Why can't you be yourself? And so that's the stuff that I strive to do. And so I think that you're starting out on a great path. Is that I guess the biggest thing is, can you stick to it? You know, can you stick to what your vision is of what you? And there are many times where I want to like take it off to a different level, and it was like, no, that's not what. And even Alex and I talk about it all the time, and I was talking to him today about, and you know, like I want to take this podcast to a different level, and how do we do that? Stay true to what we really want to do is really focus on mental health. But how do we take it to that next level? And I think that's what you should always continue to try to do with yours. Like, keep growing with it, man. You know how hard it is to get something started. It's just, that's the biggest thing, is getting started.
3 times now. 3 times now.
3 times a charm, right? 3rd time's a charm.
Maybe.
Hopefully. It's consistency, right? Consistency and accountability.
I had to remind myself all the stuff that I was telling you. Now I'm like, I got to remind myself, like,
right?
Be consistent. Because I would say, oh, people might not catch on right away. Yep. Your numbers might not look great in the beginning, but don't get discouraged by that. Now I got to tell myself that, because I'm like, damn, like they not checking for me like that.
Right? How do you feel about that? Like, you know, you like, how can I give advice and I ain't even doing it myself? Like, I mean, looking back on it now, how did that make you feel that I actually stuck with it?
I'm happy. I didn't know. Like, when I left, I'm like, I don't know if he's gonna stick with it or not.
Yeah, I had to do a lot of searching to get somebody in here to, you know, to really love it the way I did. And I think one of the biggest things is I think Alex and I kind of hit it right off, and he was just as excited as I am about it. And
yeah, you got a great one with Alex Jackson. I had to give you that. Remember you helped me with my he helped me with my project. We had an audio class. It was like Black America or something. Uh-huh. Yeah, he remembered it. And I was like talking about like the difference between like the older generation and the new. Yeah. And I was like, see, I was woke. I was conscious way before it. And he was like, go talk to Alex Jackson. Go talk to Alex Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Alex and I, we did an episode. He didn't open up as much, but he opened up. And I think too, like it's hard to find like authentic help, like people that really believe in what you were doing and what you're trying to put out and the process about it. I think that's hard, because most of the time people just want to get paid. People just want to like, oh, I want to add to my portfolio. But like when Alex and I hooked up, man, he was all in. And so it was, to be honest with you, it was hard to replace you because of you had a love for what we were actually doing. Like you said, you felt that it was a good thing that we were speaking on. It's hard to find people like that. And so I just feel like I was blessed for him to come in and just pick up where you left off. So, you know, I appreciate you, because you did give me his name too. So, but
you're welcome.
So, is there anything that you want to talk about that I hadn't brought up yet? I still got a little bit more, but I want. Is there
more for me?
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to talk about that I didn't bring up?
Well, I'm not gonna volunteer anything, so you have to ask me, and I'll give it to you.
You're not gonna volunteer anything, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna volunteer. But if you ask me, I'll give it to you. I'm not volunteering anything. Yeah. So I might give out too much. You wasn't gonna go that direction. Now we in a whole nother situation talking about something else. I'm like, oh.
No. Here's an I do want to talk about celebrityism. You know how now it feels like the climate is, even though mental health is starting to like really come to the forefront. And I'm real careful about how I talk about this because I don't want anyone to misunderstand what I'm saying. Is that I see a lot of celebrities feeling the need to talk more about mental health. I applaud them for talking more about mental health and coming out, but I also see that a lot of people are trying to capitalize on mental health and maybe not as authentic as I would like them to be. So,
I mean,
what's your
kids not gonna listen to a politician talk about mental health. They not gonna go get help. Yeah, like this. I don't know. Should they be trying to capitalize off of it if they're not taking it seriously? No, of course not.
Okay.
But I feel like they are the right people because those are the ones that the kids are looking up to. So if they're the ones that's talking about it, that's fine. Because you're not going to look at Joe Biden. If he talk about mental health and therapy, or a local politician like a Maurice West, a lot of kids, they not going to look at them like, oh, I need to go get help.
Right.
But if you see your favorite rapper like a G Herbo or a Lil Baby or an athlete like John Moran, they say they're going to get help.
Yeah.
A kid is definitely going to look at them like,
right.
oh, I should go get help too.
Right. And I think that's the part that really I enjoy is because if they are authentic with it and they're putting out the right messages when it comes to mental health, I think that's extremely important because like you said, they see them all the time on TV. I mean, you can pretty much turn on any channel, you can see your favorite superstar, right? And when you do that, if you can see your favorite superstar being transparent like that, that makes it all right for you. But this is why I do what I do, because I want people to also see that there are ordinary people that are dealing with the same issues that the celebrity is, but they won't get that same attention. So everybody's worth being listened to. It's just how we put it out there, and if we can do it as alliance more than as adversaries, I think that's where we can make it. But then I think some of these podcasts, and not trying to be judgmental, but a lot of the podcasts are kind of perpetuating the mental illness or the mental challenges that we deal with by the behaviors, and so I think we have to be extremely careful that we're not putting out contradictory messages.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way of stopping that though.
No,
you just gotta pick and choose what you're gonna listen to.
And that's the biggest. That's what it really boils down to. Is like you choose what you're gonna listen to, And I think by you saying that, which makes me want to segue into choices. Like life is about choices. Do you realize like a lot of things that you've done, a lot of things that you've chose to do was your choice? Because this is one of the things that I talk to people about now. Is like we all have a choice in everything that we do. Do you feel like now you know that, or do you feel like you always known that you had a choice?
Oh yeah, always. Everything has been my decision for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because I could have easily went down the wrong path, but I chose not to. So yeah.
Yeah. I think when we grow up in certain communities, we feel like we don't have a choice. I was watching Supreme Team last night on Netflix with Nas, and he was talking about the Supreme Team, how they grew up, and what they seen. It was glamorized, and it was this, and it was that, and they felt like, oh, at that point, I didn't have a choice because this is what I seen, and this is what I wanted. They seen the money, they seen the fame, and so they found a way to do it within the confines of the streets. And so I think sometimes we do that as youth when we're growing up. We see what we glamorize what we see, and is how do we get there? And we got this microwave mentality of I want it right now, but we don't want to work for it. Your work ethic, where did it come from? Do you ever think about like where did it come from?
Okay, I think it came from my mom because when I realized like as a kid, I remember if I didn't feel well, I would try to stay at home. Yeah. If I wasn't feeling well. But yeah, so I would like try to stay at home, like I don't feel good. And my mom would always be like, well, go to school anyway. And then if you still don't feel good, I'll come and get you. So I would like never miss like days of school. Gotcha. So now that's like it's bleeding into my adulthood. But now I'm starting to realize I don't know if my mom could afford to just stay at home with a kid. She probably had no choice but to go to work.
Yeah.
So like school was like my babysitter in a way.
Yeah.
So she had to go to work. So I feel like it's definitely my mom that kind of instead of just go to work, do what you got to do. I saw her work multiple jobs all the time.
Yeah.
And when I got to a certain age, I had to start doing stuff by myself. Laundry. And I was in the 6th grade, stuff like that. So, and I think it's just because it's like, all right, I don't have the time to just do these things for you. So now you're of age, like you need to figure out how to do these things yourself.
Wow. Okay. So I'm going to tread lightly here, but I'm going to go. I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there with you. So, I hear you talk a lot about your mom, like what she instilled in you, what she did, how she pushed you, and how you eventually had to do a lot of stuff on your own. I don't hear dad. So by me not hearing dad, I don't want to assume, but I want you to, what does that look like for you? What did that growing up look like for you?
Not there.
Not there.
I met him one time.
Wow.
My whole life.
Do you think your life would be different if he was there?
Of course. I feel like he would have just having a man present. It was things that I was going through as a teenager, and I didn't go to my mom about it because I didn't know how to, and I didn't have anybody to help me with those things. So I really was left to like figure stuff out on my own. I never figured it out.
Wow.
I didn't figure out those things. And now I'm figuring out at almost 30. I was like, okay, now I'm seeing how to deal with these things. But yeah, it definitely would have made things better. I feel like, I've never been to jail or anything like that. So I feel like, all right, I'm cool on that.
Right.
But yeah, there's definitely a lot of things where it's like, I could have definitely used a father figure or a father.
So even though you had a mother that pushed you and that kind of really gave you that tough love, you still feel that you needed that aspect of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think I needed it before. And then you start listening to different things, therapies, podcasts.
Yeah.
Like, damn, like I really did miss out on something.
Right. I think, I said this I can't remember what podcast it was, but and women like to get offended by when you say that, a young man needs his father or needs a male figure.
I would say, yeah, male figure for sure.
A male figure in their life, because they love to say, well, I'm his daddy, I'm his mama, I'm all that. And I get that. And hats off to you for providing and going hard and doing what you need to do. But there's an element that a young man cannot get from his mother. And that's part of the developmental stages. You need a man to show you how to be a man. Now, your mom can impart all these things into you. Women, you can definitely do that. And I'm not saying that you can't. I appreciate you. I love you for it. But at the same time, there's some things that men can only teach young men. And so I really like to push that message is that, even mothers, single mothers, have or allow your kid to have a male figure in their life, even if you have to search for a mentor at a boys and girls club. It doesn't matter. They need that. And I think that's kind of what you're speaking to, is like you missed that piece of it. But you didn't never have that opportunity to have that male figure in your life growing up?
I would say later, like my aunt's husband. Like he's a father figure.
Okay.
But like I said, I'm so deep into not sharing things that I wasn't giving him much to work with.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's huge for you to say that. Because like you said, though, if he was there, but the timing of it, like it almost has to be at a younger age where you feel a little bit more vulnerable to open up to them. But once you start to get set in your ways, you're not going to want to open up.
I mean, he's been around for a long time though.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't think I didn't look at anybody necessarily as a father figure because I just did not have a dad. So I'm just, I don't have a dad. Mm-hmm. As a kid, you don't know much about father figures or that term. Yeah, so as a kid, I didn't necessarily think about it like that until I got a little bit older. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a father figure. But I think by the time I realized like that's a father figure, yeah, it was like I'm already who I am. Yeah. Certain things I'm just not gonna share.
So I mean, you just said it too. Like when you're young like that, you're not thinking about I need a father figure. It's only when you become older and you realize that you missed something. Mm-hmm. It's almost like it's too late then at that point. But you can fix it and turn it around. But it's like I needed to know that when I was in it.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I don't need a father figure now.
No, you definitely right. No, because I didn't have my dad in my life either. But I didn't realize how much I needed him in my life until I got older, and then I got to the point where I was like, I don't even need a dad. Yeah. You know, I'm grown now. You know,
exactly.
So, so with all of that said, like. You already said mental health and therapy is really helped you, right? It's gotten you to the place right now you're feeling a lot more comfortable with yourself. You're feeling a lot more accomplished. You're feeling like you're liking yourself a little bit more. What's next for you?
I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like a long time I would try to plan things out, think ahead. And I mean, I'm always still doing those things. But I feel like I was putting so much pressure on myself to get those things accomplished. And then if I didn't get it accomplished, it's a failure. Okay. So, yeah, I don't necessarily know what's next. I'm just I'm working hard. And the stuff that I do want to do, I keep that in the back of my mind. I still work towards it, but I don't have a exact plan or I don't know what is next. I just know what I would like to do, and I'm just going to try to get there.
Okay. Well, because I'm not your therapist on the podcast, I can give you this advice. And as a young person, that I didn't have this advice, but I want to give it to you, is that find out what your goal is. Find out what the outcome is. Like, what's your end goal? And anything you do from this point to whenever you get there, make sure it's relevant to that. Don't do anything that's not relevant to where you want to be. Because at the end of the day, it's going to waste time and you're going to just burn yourself out. I wish someone would have told me that because I tried to do everything else and it never led to what I really wanted to do.
Yeah. I mean, I have an end goal, but I think for so long, I'm like, if I don't reach this end goal, how am I going to be like happy or content with life if I don't get these things done? So I feel like now I've reached a place of contentment, not satisfied,
right?
But I'm content with where I'm at right now, and I'm gonna keep working hard to get to where I want to be.
Gotcha.
But of course, I'm not satisfied, but I'm just content with where I'm at the moment. But I still want more.
Gotcha. No, I respect that. Well, I always like to give my guests opportunity at the end of the show to leave some advice, some nuggets, some type of direction for someone else out there. Like, what kind of advice would you leave for a young man that just trying to make it and trying to understand their mental health? And then just any advice in general that you would like to leave?
Well, I don't have anything, but I wanted to ask you something. I feel like that could help other people out, right? Because I had a situation with my my last therapy session, where I was not happy with the stuff that we was talking about, to the point where I was gonna take a break. Where I was like, I'm not going back for a while. Okay. Cause she made me mad.
She made you mad?
Yeah. So how would I bring that up in therapy to get it back on the direction that I wanted to go if I don't like certain things that they were asking me?
Well, so
how would I approach my therapist?
Okay. So first thing is that, and this is key, is that if you feel that you've built a strong enough relationship and rapport with her or him, and you should be able to do that. The anxiety piece is that you are fearing that there may be some backlash, or she may want or not feel a certain way. But most of the time, we as therapists, we want to be honest. We want to be transparent, and we want you to feel as comfortable as possible. So I'm always open for like, hey, I didn't like last session. I didn't like the direction it went. Give her or him the opportunity to explain why they went that direction and what they were actually trying, the goal that they were trying to achieve. But then also moving forward, you can say, hey, I don't mind us going in the direction you want to go, because I know you're trying to get me to get to where I need to be. But there are sometimes I just kind of want to go in a different direction. Am I allowed to do that? Can I have that type of relationship? At the end of the day, if he or she is a good therapist, they're going to allow you to be you. They're not going to push their agenda, because it's never about the therapist. It's always about the client. So you just got to get over those anxiety of what may happen and what may not happen. But honesty is everything. I would always tell you, hey, if you're going to come to me, and I want you to be honest with me so I can be honest with you. As simple as that. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to be honest with you because you're not honest with me, but that's the way it is. But like I said, most therapists will allow you to be that and do that.
I like that. All right, thank you.
Okay, so I still need your advice. You're not going to get off the hook. What would you leave a young man? What kind of advice would you give him, man? Especially, because like you said, it took a minute for you to actually, go to therapy. Like, what kind of advice would you leave a young man?
I would say, just be a leader, or move by the beat of your own drum.
Gotcha.
Don't follow the crowd too much. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously as a kid, you're going to follow the crowd sometimes, right? Because you just want to be accepted.
Right.
But definitely don't do anything that you don't want to do. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of friends that, like I said, went the other way, and I just didn't want to do it. Nobody told me not to do it. I mean, I guess your parents, of course, they tell you to not do something.
Right. But
I could have easily did it. Okay. So I would say just have a mind of your own and try to always keep that. Have your own mind. Don't let people push you too far over.
Right. I like that. I think if we really can tap into just being an individual, like, you don't have to be like everybody else. You can be you. You can be your authentic self and still be successful at whatever it is that you're trying to do. So, well, I thank you for coming on the show. I mean, I know you didn't fly all the way from North Carolina for this. You got another event to attend, but at the same time, I appreciate you stopping through. MENtality Unchained, we really appreciate everything that you've poured into it, everything that you put into it, and we are really standing on your shoulders on this one, man, because you helped build this, and I truly appreciate it. You have been one of the real ones, one of the ones that want to see true change and wanted to see, the mental health piece push forward. And so I appreciate that. Before I get out of here, I always let people know that we all have the ability to change our circumstances only if we focus on what we can change. And that's a true statement. We can't change anything outside of our own abilities. So I want to thank you again, Jaleel Wavy West, for coming on the show. And that's MENtality Unchained, and we're out.
Keep your mind alert and your heart with peace. Be the change that we want.